We are traditionally taught to perceive death as a period, as some kind of final boundary. But what if it's not the end at all, but merely a door to something so astonishing that it could even shock us? And the most remarkable thing is that modern science, both in theory and in practice, is increasingly providing evidence that life after death exists. Imagine that with your last breath you close your eyes in the earthly world, and then open them in another, a world slightly similar to ours, yet completely new. Amazingly, this idea has a scientific basis, linked to the name of the outstanding physicist Hugh Everett. His theory made scientists rethink the concept of reality and challenged the very idea of an end to existence, giving us not only hope for the immortality of our consciousness and soul, but also providing a scientific foundation for it. In the mid-20th century, the young physicist Hugh Everett proposed something revolutionary. He stated that the universe is not singular. Every choice we make, every event, creates a branching of reality. We walk to work, and one version of the world emerges. We are late and take the bus, another version emerges. And there are countless such versions. Everett called this the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. Simply put, everything that can happen does happen, but not in the same universe, in parallel worlds. And here arises the crucial question: if worlds multiply infinitely, what happens to us when we die? Does consciousness truly end if there is an inexhaustible number of alternative versions of our life? According to Everett's logic, we do not exist at a single point in reality, but across many. What we call the self is a stream of consciousness flowing through different versions of the universe. When death occurs in one of them, the stream simply shifts to another. This can be illustrated with the following image. Imagine a radio. It is tuned to a specific frequency. If the signal disappears, it doesn't mean the music has ended forever. We simply change the frequency and find another channel. Similarly, death may not be switching off, but a shift in the frequency of being. In other words, when we die, we simply move into another version of ourselves and continue living. You close your eyes in one reality, and open them in another, where yourself continues to exist. Many people who have experienced clinical death report astonishing visions, such as tunnels, lights, meetings with deceased relatives, and so on. Conventional medical science explains this as the reaction of a dying brain. But in the context of Everett's theory, it can be viewed differently. Consciousness, at the moment of crisis, simply shifts to another version of the universe, where its journey continues. Interestingly, these new versions of reality can be very similar to the old ones. For example, you might wake up in a world where the event that caused your death never occurred. So why does death seem like the end to us? It's simple: we are accustomed to linear thinking. There is a beginning, birth, so there must be an end, death. But quantum physics offers a different perspective. Life is not singular, it is multiple. If we accept this idea, humanity's greatest fear, the fear of non-existence, disappears. For non-existence simply does not exist. There is only the eternal transition from one version of oneself to another. In fact, the great physicist Everett said that we are all immortal. But it is a special kind of immortality, not in the body we know, but in consciousness, which cannot vanish because there is always the next version of reality. Think of it as an endless film, where the main character has millions of alternative storylines. One plot may end tragically, but another immediately begins, in which the story continues. This theory overturns our entire understanding. Death ceases to be the end. It becomes a door to another world. Life gains new meaning. Every moment can lead to a whole chain of new universes. The purpose of existence deepens. After all, we are not mere random observers but eternal travelers on an infinite map of being. By the way, this can very easily and plausibly explain the familiar phenomenon of déjà vu, the feeling that we have already lived through similar events. Perhaps it is an echo of other versions of ourselves. Hugh Everett, as a strict scientist, hardly intended to console humanity. But his theory provides hope stronger than any religion. It tells us that non-existence does not exist. There is only the infinite journey. And when the moment we fear most comes, perhaps we will not face darkness and emptiness, but a new version of ourselves, in a world that continues our path. Thus, death is a step from one room to another. It is a change of scenery in a play where the main character is eternal. And that main character is you. The deeper humanity studies the mystery of death, the more it feels as though we are standing on the threshold of a great discovery. Every new experiment offers strange but compelling evidence for the existence of life after death. Scientists have observed that at the moment when a person's heart stops and the brain ceases to show signs of life, bright activity still sparks inside. This phenomenon has been recorded multiple times. It is as if the dying brain suddenly lights up like a spotlight, illuminating a path further ahead. In those seconds, consciousness breaks free from ordinary physiology, as if searching for new coordinates to continue its journey. If you think about it, these flashes may explain what people call the light at the end of the tunnel. Hundreds of those who have survived clinical death describe an astonishing unity of sensations. They see a bright light, hear voices, feel incredible calm, and then return. But what if returning is only one of the branches? In another branch of the universe, this person continues to live, and their story follows an entirely different scenario. There are astonishing cases where people, after their heart stopped, described the tiniest details of what was happening around them. One man recounted how he observed what the doctors were doing with his body, saw their instruments, and heard their words. Later, it turned out that everything he described matched reality exactly. According to medical devices, his body was already without consciousness, yet his awareness seemed to have freed itself and continued to register what was happening. Even more remarkable is that many people who have experienced death described similar scenes. This does not resemble individual imagination, rather, it appears to be a shared reality that they all glimpsed. Perhaps this is the parallel layer that Everett spoke of, a new version of the world where consciousness moves when the previous scenario has ended. A separate mystery involves children's memories of past lives. Sometimes, barely able to speak, young children start recounting stories that cannot be explained as mere fantasy. Their words astonish their parents and puzzle scientists. These children describe events entirely unrelated to their family, culture, or environment. They name cities they have never visited, recall the names of people unknown to anyone around them, and even describe details of houses or locations with such precision that it astonishes the imagination. Particularly striking are memories of tragic deaths. A child may say that they were killed before or that they lived in another family, providing specific circumstances. Parents often dismiss this as a game or fantasy, but sometimes the child's account is verified. One of the most famous examples is a 3-year-old boy from Syria who insisted that in a past life he had been killed and buried in a specific location. When adults checked, human remains and even the murder weapon were found precisely there. Such cases cannot be explained as mere coincidence. It resembles a leakage of memory from other layers of existence. If reality is truly multiple, as Everett's theory suggests, it becomes clearer, the child has not yet fully forgotten their other versions. Their consciousness has not yet been fully covered by the new identity, and fragments of past scenarios break through into our world. Sometimes these memories disappear as suddenly as they appear, as if someone closes the door so the child can live their new life without looking back. Yet the very possibility that the soul's memory can cross the boundaries of worlds presents humanity with the greatest mystery, who we were before, and who we might still become in an infinite chain of realities. The more facts we gather, the clearer it becomes that death cannot be perceived as a final end. It is nothing like a period at the end of a sentence. Rather, it is a change of scenery in the grand play of existence, where the actor does not die but merely exits backstage to appear again, in a new scene, in a different costume, in a different role. Our consciousness, like a delicate thread, is connected to the deep laws of the universe. It does not obey the harsh rules of the physical body, it transcends matter and time. Therefore, disappearance is impossible. We do not fade like a candle in the wind. We move to where the scenario continues, where the plot does not end but opens a new chapter. And if yesterday such thoughts could be dismissed as myths or religious comfort, today science itself begins to cautiously whisper that there may be some truth in them. Quantum paradoxes, mysterious brain flashes at the moment of death, astonishing testimonies from those who have visited the other side, all of this forms a strange but convincing puzzle. Death ceases to be a cold wall. It appears in a new light, as a door to a space we cannot yet fully describe but feel with every cell of our soul. And perhaps it is there that the most amazing, the most vivid, the truest journey begins, a journey beyond the world we know. Write in the comments what you think. Do parallel worlds exist, and does our soul enter them after death? Also, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and click the bell so you don't miss new fascinating content. Thank you very much for watching. Wishing you all a long life and goodness.